Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to another new episode of our program Ask Huda. Our phone numbers beginning with area code are 002, then 0238555132, and the other number is same area code, then 0100546933, and the Facebook page is Salah Official. My dear brothers and sisters, it gives us a great pleasure to answer your questions, and we beg Allah's help and we ask Him to assist us all in trying to find the right answer in the Quran and the sound Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the practices of the companions, or in the general consensus of the righteous scholars. May Allah the Almighty guide all of us to what is best. We have a few questions which we received already. Foka Hamri says, what would be the ruling on a Muslim after converting to Christianity, but he becomes regretful now? This guy wants to revert to Islam once again. What can he do? Or is his heart sealed upon, so he has no choice to come back? Now, this is not true. If the person committed any sin, including shirk or associating partners to Allah in worship, or apostasy, then the person recognized his mistake and repented by returning to Allah the Almighty with sincere repentance, with sincere devotion. And in the case of kufr or disbelief or apostasy, he or she will be required to pronounce the shahada one more time, to say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna muhammadan rasulullah. Sometimes apostasy happens as a result of determination. The person is convinced, according to the current condition, that this religion is better. Then he changes. Then he realizes that he was gravely mistaken. So he comes back. In this case, he is required to utter the shahada one more time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Arish from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Go ahead, Arish.
I have three questions.
Please.
I have three questions regarding Hajj. We are inshallah going to Hajj this year.
MashaAllah. Congratulations.
My first question is, can we wear sunglasses and ihram in Hajj? And my second question is, can I cover my face using a niqab which is stitched, which shows only the eyes in ihram? And my third question is, in Hajj for an infant, is sacrificing a goat necessary? What is the niyyah when we give sacrifice and when we don't in Hajj? I am doing Hajj Qiran because we will be going only one day earlier to Hajj.
Okay. I got all your questions, Arish. Thank you so much. I just need to wrap up my answer to the earlier question. It is of a great importance. Nowadays, there are a lot of fitan, plural of fitna, trials of doubts, especially the youth who are not exposed to proper Islamic education, so they may hear a misconception here or a misconception there, and maybe they end up not talking to anyone, not asking, not finding out, and they convert or they abandon the deen. So either by accepting another religion or by leaving the folds of Islam altogether, even without joining another religion, sometimes by becoming agnostic or deistic, or becoming an atheist, rejecting all religions, then the person happens to have a chance to talk to a scholar, to learn the facts about the deen, to refute his misconceptions and now he regrets? This is a question that we got here. Coming back to Islam and entering the fold of Islam would require the person to do whatever a person will have to do in order to convert to Islam from disbelief. Simply uttering the Shahada, saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And it is the duty of the Muslim community, in case that a person happen to convert, abandon the religion, instead of attacking him, humiliating him or her, giving them the chance. This is the Sharia ruling, to conduct a dialogue with him or with her, to give them a chance, give them 3 days. What do you have in mind? What is making you in doubt of your religion? And so on. And as a matter of fact, it normally works, especially if the person was in doubt or was confused due to a misconception that he heard from here or there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Rashima from the KSA, welcome to Ask Huda.
Sure, I'm asking. There is about when a non-Muslim give me salam, I say that wa alaikum. Is it true or not? If it's true, what is that? What the mean?
Right.
Another thing, I wanted your mobile number. I don't know how.
Thank you, Sister Rashima from the KSA, and the control will assist you in this regard, inshallah. Arish from the KSA, her family and herself are going for Hajj this year. Congratulations, and may Allah accept from you, from your family, and from all of us. Her first question is, can a person wear sunglasses while in a state of ihram? Yes, and this is for both men and women. Covering the face is restricted during ihram for both men and women through wearing a face cover, like wearing a niqab for a woman, or covering the head and the face for a man by putting a towel on top of his head to cover either the face or the head. This is restricted while in a state of ihram. Even for men, even if you are in private. For women, if you are in private or in public, it is restricted to cover the face, unless if you are around men who are not your mahram. In this case, you permitted to cover your face, but not with the niqab, which is a part of your hijab. Rather with a separate piece of cloth, such as what is known as isdal. You can keep it on top of your head, and it will, this is in case a woman is normally wearing a face veil, or what is known as niqab. During ihram, the ihram of a woman is in the hands and the face. For a man, while in a state of ihram, he is not allowed to wear any stitched clothes. So the thobe, nope. The kufi, nope. Socks, undergarments, all of that is not permitted while in a state of ihram. Only the two towels, the izar and the rida. And when I say with no stitches, the izar and the rida have stitches. Rather, it means it was not tailored to be worn. It is not something to fit as pants, trousers, shirt, or a t-shirt, or a coat. But the towels, you wrap one around your waist, that's izar. Another one on your shoulders, that's called rida. That's perfectly fine. In the case of women, their ihram, you can wear any regular, everyday clothes that you wear upon leaving your home, proper hijab, with the exception of the face and the hands. So you don't wear gloves, and you don't wear a niqab while in a state of ihram. But Shaykh, if I am in public, if I'm doing tawaf, there are a lot of men around me, sa'i, what am I supposed to do? Aisha radiallahu anha answered this question, and she said that whenever we would pass by men, one of us would lower her isdal, which is a separate piece of cloth, is not a part of her hijab, to cover the face. That if you want to, like if you're normally wearing niqab. Otherwise, in ordinary conditions, while you are in the plane, you are in the bus, you're surrounded with men, and in your hotel room, the ihram of a woman is to uncover the hands and the face. Her third question is, what should be the intention in the case of giving the hadi, the fidya, or otherwise? The sacrifice in Hajj and during Hajj is one of three. There is the hadi, as Allah the Almighty stated in the ayah, فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ بِالْعُمْرَةِ إِلَى الْحَجِّ فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَجِّ. If a person intended to do both Umrah and Hajj, or the person happened to perform Umrah anytime from the first day of the month of Shawwal, and then during the same year on the month of Dhul Hijjah, the person did Hajj, whether Hajj al-Tamattu or Hajj al-Qiran, then the person is required to give a hadi. A person will be exempt from that. ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ أَهْلُهُ حَاضِرِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. A person who is Mecca resident, they don't give Hajj. They are not required to give Hajj. But a person from outside, even if you live in Jeddah, you live in Riyadh, and he came to perform, he happened to perform Umrah nowadays, then mashallah you got a permit to perform Hajj. Even if you do just Hajj, but remember you've done an Umrah anytime during the month of Shawwal or the month of Dhul Qa'dah or the first few days of the month of Dhul Hijjah, then you're required to give a Hajj. The time of offering the Hajj is upon returning back from Muzdalifah, and after throwing the stones on the Eid day, which is the 10th day of the month of Dhul Hijjah. Your intention is to give the Hajj for the Hajj, because you're performing Umrah and Hajj in the same year during the months of Hajj, Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah. So that should be your intention. Nowadays, and luckily, we and the pilgrims don't have to worry about slaughtering the sacrifice by themselves or witnessing that or going to the slaughterhouse. It used to consume several hours, sometimes a whole day, and even the following day, and afterward the person wouldn't know what to do with the meat. So either the government or there are non-profit organizations, they collect your money and they give you a voucher and they ask you, what is your intent? So you say, this is Hajj, so you know that this is for performing Umrah and Hajj. And the due date is upon returning from Muzdalifah and throwing the stones on the morning of the Eid day, which is the 10th day of the month of Dhul Hijjah. What is the fidya? A fidya is, Allah the Almighty said also in the same course of Hajj, فَفِدْيَةٌ مِّن صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. The fidya is prescribed here in case that the person had to do any of the restricted acts during ihram. So the ayah was referring to a specific practice. If the person had to shave his head while shaving, trimming, or removing any hair for both men and women during ihram is forbidden. But sometimes a person had a medical condition, so he's got to remove the hair immediately. By analogy, the person, look into a man, due to medical condition, he has to wear certain clothes, stitched clothes, no problem, wear it, and you can resort to the fidya. What is the fidya? A fidya is a compensation or a ransom for a violation of any of the restricted acts during ihram, such as shaving or dressing up in clothes, wearing stitched clothes, or having to cover the head for men, for innocence. He said, فَفِدْيَةٌ مِّن صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. الصيام is to fast for 3 days. أو صدقة is to feed 6 poor people, to give them 6 meals. أو nusuk, which is the sacrifice, al-fidya, which our brothers and sisters of the Indo-Pak background, they call it dam. And the word dam in Arabic means blood, not dam. So here they refer to the fidya, which is offered as a sacrifice for any of the violations that a person have done during ihram, or in order to compensate for a mandatory duty that the person have missed, such as if a hajj or a mu'tamir, a pilgrim, crossed the miqat without assuming the intention of ihram. So he's either have to go back, or if he can't, then make your intention from wherever you are, and then the ransom is to give the fidya, the dam, to slaughter the sheep. So what is your intention? It's a ransom. And you have to specify that. Why do I have to specify that? If I'm buying a voucher, or if I'm asking somebody to do the fidya on my behalf. Because in the case of the hajj, we can send it all overseas, we can distribute it among the poor people here and there, and you yourself, you're allowed to eat out of its meat and its soup. But in the case of the fidya, it must be slaughtered and entirely distributed among the poor people of the haram, Mecca. So there is a difference. The third type of sacrifice, and also I'd like to give another example in case of skipping a wajib, like somebody didn't spend the night at all in Muzdalifah, fidya, it's a wajib to slaughter a sheep. You skipped throwing the stones, or you didn't spend the night in Mina during Ayam al-Tashriq, fidya. Somebody left without performing tawaf al-wada', the farewell tawaf, it's a wajib, it is mandatory duty. So in this case, you give the fidya, ransom, the sacrifice. It must be entirely distributed among the poor people of Mecca or the haram in general. The third type of sacrifice, and also it is your intention which determines whether it is number 1, 2, or 3, is the udhiyah. And al-udhiyah is the sacrifice that a Muslim offers on behalf of himself and his family member on the Eid day after offering the Eid prayer. Allah the Almighty stated in Surah Al-Kawthar, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. So the right order is to pray the Eid, then to offer the sacrifice. And the sunnah in the case of udhiyah is to distribute it, to give some to the poor, some you keep for yourself, and it is recommended that you eat out of it, of its meat, and you give some gifts to your neighbors, your family members, and so on. And most of the scholars are of the view that it should be divided into 3 portions, 3/3, and you can keep 1/3 for yourself, 1 for the poor, and 1 for neighbors and relatives. If you decide to give it entirely to the poor, that is fine, but not the other, not otherwise. So the poor have a set share in the udhiyah. The pilgrim, a person who's performing hajj, is exempt from offering udhiyah because he's giving hajj. But if he wants to give, that's perfectly fine, that's something extra, but he's exempt. So it is your intention which will determine. Nowadays, as I said, you don't slaughter by your hand, rather you can go to a rajhi booth and say, hey, I need a voucher. For what? Hajj. No. Fidya. No. Udhiyah. So it will be dispensed according to your intention. Some people beforehand, before even finishing Hajj, they go and they buy 3 or 4 sheep, 3 or 4 fidya. What is it for? They say, just in case. I'm afraid that I may do mistakes that is not permissible. Because the fidya, which is a ransom for a violation of the restricted acts during ihram, or for skipping a mandatory duty during Hajj, must be done after the person have done the violation, or realizing that he indulged into any of these violations, not before. Similarly, after Hajj, some people come and buy a few fidyas, especially our brothers whom Allah the Almighty blessed with plenty of wealth. So they buy 5, 6 sheep. I've met a lot of people like that coming from the US. What is it for, bro? He says, just in case. She says, just in case. I did everything perfect, as you said in the program of Hajj, step by step, but I'm afraid that I may have done something wrong, so I'm giving a fidya just in case. It doesn't work this way. The fidya must be for a specific violation which you are certain of. Otherwise, consider it a charity. Okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Fatima from United Arab Emirates.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh.
Go ahead, Sister
How
Fatima.
are you?
I'm doing fine,
Yeah,
alhamdulillah. Thank you for
I want
asking.
to ask you, can a Sunni woman marry Shia man? This is my question.
Can a Sunni woman marry to a Shia man?
Yes.
That is your question. Okay.
Yes.
To which denomination or sect of the Shia does he belong?
I don't know.
You don't even know. Okay. Thank you, Sister Fatima. Rashima from the KSA said, if somebody says Assalamu alaikum or Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah or Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and the person who was greeted with this greeting said wa alaikum, is it right? It is right. Allah the Almighty said in Surah An-Nisa, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. Look at the beautiful order Allah the Almighty commanded us. If you guys are being greeted with any greeting, then you shall reply with a better one, or at least give similar to it. So when one says Assalamu alaikum and you say wa alaikum, you choose the letter which is just replying with a similar one. Like when somebody says Jazakumullahu khairan, you said, and you too. What does it mean? Wa alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, and you too. That's wa alaikum, and upon you too. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and you too. Peace be upon you and His and Allah's mercy. Wa barakatuh, and His blessings. Okay? The recommendation, as the ayah says of Surah An-Nisa, it is better to reply with a better greeting. Like if somebody says, Uli assalamu alaikum, say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. That is better. You added extra. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But if somebody just said wa alaikum, it is valid though. Sister Fatima from United Arab Emirates asked about, can a Sunni woman marry a Shia man? I think this is a very serious question, and I was told that we're going to take a short break. Soon after the break, inshallah, I'd love to answer this question. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Right before the break, I had a question from Sister Fatima from United Arab Emirates, who asked, is it permissible for a Sunni woman to marry to a Shia man? So I asked her, which sect or denomination of the Shia does he belong to? She said, I don't know. And I was expecting this kind of answer, because vast majority of Muslims, as well as vast majority of Shia, Muslims who are Sunni, the mainstream, or the Shia, do not know the difference and do not know the different denominations of the Shia or the different sects, and there are many. Are they Ithna Asharis, or is he Zaydi? Is he Ismaili? Is he this or this or that? Because that will determine his category according to his belief. Many Shia were born to Shia families, and they literally know nothing about Shiism or being a Sunni or a Shia. they barely know the basics of Islam, and many barely pray. Okay, and we've met with a lot of them in many countries. So by having a dialogue with them, we came to realize that they don't know much. Okay, but the question is, what do we know about the person whom I'm going to share the rest of my life with, I'm going to have children with? Like, for instance, if I'm going to marry to a person, now the sister says marry into a Shia man, who is a very strict Shia, or he belongs to the Ithna Asharis, or to any of those sects who do believe that Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman have upstated and converted from Islam to disbelief. So they are kuffar. And they consider one of the means of approach to Allah is cursing those companions and cursing the mothers of the believers, Aisha and Hafsa and so on. So how are you going to share bed? How are you going to share the children? And what do you expect your children in the future to do? Are you going to teach them the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions and the hadith concerning the virtues of those great companions? Or are you going to inspire them, in order to be a good Muslim you have to curse those companions? And unfortunately all the companions of the Prophet have converted, with the except of few, Ammar ibn Yasir and Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, according to them. So there is a big gap. There is a big gap. I'm here not talking about whether this person is a Muslim or not. I can definitely explain in detail. I teach that course at the university. I teach different Islamic sects, not only Shi'ism, and with all the different subgroups, whether the Alawis, Nusayris, Ithna Asharis, Zaydis, and so on. But and I teach the students what kind of judgment we give them. But I'm talking about sharing life with a person whom we have major differences in our belief concerning not the pillars of Islam. As far as the pillars of Islam, they and us, we say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. They pray, we fast, we perform Hajj, but there are different practices even in the ibadat. I will resume after this call. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Khadija from Nigeria. Okay, please try again. Sister Khadija from the case. Say another caller. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Khadija.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ask Huda.
Yeah. My first question is. Hello.
Yes.
My first question is, when we are doing sa'i or tawaf, and we have an infant with us, and we take the infant in our lap, or say we take him on a wheelchair, the tawaf counts for both, or only for ourselves, and we have to do it again for the baby? That is the first question. My second question is, Sheikh, I know the conditions when we can do tayammum. I know when it is allowed to do tayammum. But what I want to know is, the tayammum, do we need sand particularly to do tayammum? For instance, if we are in our house, or say we are in an aeroplane and we need to do tayammum, then how do we do tayammum when we don't have sand with us?
You said tayammum, right?
Because I think
Khadija,
hands over sand or dust,
you're
right?
asking about tayammum. Tayammum,
yes,
right?
tayammum.
Okay.
Okay. And one more, Sheikh, the last question. Suppose the ladies, they wear long gowns, like maxis, very long maxis. In India, we wear long maxis. So in this, do we need to wear underwear or pajamas for us to pray salah or in umrah? Or we can just wear a long gown and that is sufficient?
Okay, you mean...
That's it.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you asking about do you have to wear socks if you're wearing a long gown or garment that covers even your feet? Or you're talking about wearing an undergarment?
Yeah, undergarment. Is it necessary to wear an undergarment, or the long maxi is sufficient?
Okay. Thank you, Sister Khadija from the KSA. Sister Gada from the KSA, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh. How are you?
Doing fine, Alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking.
Sheikh, I wanted to ask you the question about sadaqah. The question was that when we have made a niyyah that I want to give sadaqah, some amount sadaqah, I have taken it out. Do we have to give that amount right away, or we can wait for a while, just like I wait for some time when I go back to my country, so I give it to some needy people, whoever I think about.
Okay.
The second question is that according to that hadith in which Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked a sahabi to give sadaqah to his relations. So is there any criteria that the relation which we are giving sadaqah to should be that needy, or we can give it to any relation?
Okay, Sister Gada, you gotta understand that first of all, you have to figure out whether this is the mandatory sadaqah, the zakah, or a voluntary charity. Because if it is a mandatory charity, you're not allowed to give it neither to your mom nor to your dad. And obviously, you're not allowed to give it to your own children. Okay?
That I do understand, Sheikh. I am talking about that voluntary charity, zakah, not zakat, not zakat.
Yeah, okay. In this case, any relative, as long as he or she is in need. Okay? So, your own brothers, your own sisters, your parents, cousins, nephews, nieces, uncles, aunts, that is perfectly fine. And if you intend to give it, it is preferable to hasten to give or to do the good deed as fast as you can. Otherwise, it is also permissible to say, inshallah, when I go home, I'm going to give that much to this person or assist this person with that much. That is permissible because it is voluntary. It is not a mandatory. If it is mandatory, then once it is due, you must dispense it. You're not allowed to keep it. You can only keep it for a few days until you meet the person, until the person returns home, or until you arrive, but you do not keep it for weeks, for months, like some people do. Thank you, Rada from the KSA. Brother Muhammad from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Good evening, Sheikh.
Good evening to you, Muhammad.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Well, Sheikh, my question is I have, okay, my sister has got someone potential for marriage for me, and currently I'm away from home. So they would like me to get in touch with her and try to see if we can, you know, if things can work out between us. So I'm just asking, what is the proper way to go? Because I don't want to do anything that may compromise the relationship, or may anger Allah in that regard.
Who's working from home? She or you?
I'm working away from home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now your sister proposed to you somebody, and you want to know the proper way to go about it. Is that your question? Muhammad?
Yeah.
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't get what you.
Okay. I understood from you that your sister suggested somebody for you, and you're asking about the proper way to go about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they want me to establish a communication with that person, and so I from there I want to know what I should be doing on.
Okay.
There.
Simply.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Simply, if you have seen the person and you liked her, and your sister gathered some informations or whatever, and the informations they seem very positive, so you prayed istikhara, then you can proceed towards taking an action, visiting her house, talking to her guardian, whether it is the father if he is still alive, or the older brother, or the uncle, or whoever is there, and you propose to her officially. If they give you a word, that is called engagement. In the engagement, you guys have a promise to get married one day, which you guys will determine together, what suits you best. During the engagement period, nothing have changed as far as how to deal with her from halal and haram point of view. She's totally stranger to you, so no shaking hands, no hugging and kissing, obviously no going out together alone, or being alone in one place, because you're not married yet. There is no marriage contract. Once there is a marriage contract, even without processing the rest of the marriage, the consummation of the marriage, now you are officially married, even if she didn't move in yet. So you're officially married. You can sit together, you can chat together as much as you want on the phone, or by being together at her house, going out together to buy your stuff, and so on. But the right order is, as the Prophet ﷺ said to one of his companions, انظر إليها فإنه أحرى أن يؤدم بينكما. Even before bothering to visit and ask and give a proposal, have you seen her? Oh, my sister saw her and she said she's pretty. That is not enough, because beauty is something that varies from an individual to another, and based on your perception of beauty. So if you get to see her whenever she's going to school, whenever she's going to the masjid, whenever, in any condition, if there is a photo of her, then you liked her, you like the look of the girl, then you can proceed towards taking an action, visiting the family. Don't forget to pray istikhara, of course, and may Allah make it easy for you to find the best life mate. Ameen. Jidda from Nigeria, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. May Allah reward you and your team in Huda TV.
Ameen. Ameen. Thank you, Sister.
I have two questions for you.
Please, go ahead.
My first question is concerning the Ramadan. If I have to pay my fast before I have to do the Sitta Shawwal, or I should do the Sitta Shawwal before paying my fast.
Okay.
And the second question is concerning the himar. That is it compulsory for a woman to wear himar and then she'll put on the jalbab on top of the himar before she goes out? That it is compulsory in Surah Al-Nur, that Allah recommended that it should be compulsory. So I'm asking how it should be. Must I wear the himar, then I'll put on the jilbab on?
I got
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Majida from Nigeria. Got your question. Sister Khadija from the KSA, performing tawaf and pushing your child on a wheelchair or an elder person, would that count as one tawaf, either for the person whom you're pushing him or her on the wheelchair, or for you? There is indeed a difference of opinion whether it counts only for one person, and you must specify the intention, or it counts for both, and the more right view that it is sufficient for both. If I'm pushing somebody on the wheelchair, or carrying somebody on my shoulders, or carrying a baby, so that tawaf 7 rounds counts for both, for me and the person whom I'm pushing his or her chair or carrying. As I say, there is a difference of opinion, but this is the more right view, and Allah knows best when to perform tayammum. And you mentioned the plane. At tayammum, as Allah the Almighty mentioned in the Quran, He said, فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. So the main reason which allows us to resort to tayammum, which is striking our hands against the dust or the clean dirt, then wiping over our face and hands, that's called tayammum, which gives you an access to pray, gives you an access even to pray after having a major impurity, in case of lack of water, in case of not being able to use the water, in case that there is water but it is barely sufficient for our consumption, eating, cooking and drinking. So there is water but it is barely sufficient for our consumption. Don't make wudu out of it, rather resort to tayammum. You said in the plane, you don't do tayammum in the plane for the following reasons. Number one, there is water in the plane. There are bathrooms and there is water, so you cannot do tayammum. And there is no dust, there is no dirt. When you do tayammum, he said, Azza wa Jal, فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. As-Sa'id is the land which has sand, dirt, dust. Okay? You don't come on the furniture and you do like this. You don't come on the glass and you do like this. No. It must be something which have dust, dirt, pure, clean, because the sun rises upon. Okay? It is from a side. A stone is fine. A wall of a building is fine. Okay? Not a wall which is painted and smooth. I'm talking about something from the dirt, from the earth. So that is the object which you can strike upon in order to perform tayammum, not the seat in the plane. And also there is water. If you know that there is no water and it will not be available before the time of the prayer is out, then at any time simply perform tayammum in order to lift either the minor or even the major impurity. It can replace ghusl in case that there is no water. Before we leave, I need to continue my answer to Sister Fatima's question about the marriage to a Shia person. So in fact, my answer isn't dealing with whether this person is Muslim or not. I have dealt with this before and explained it in details. But I'm talking about how the Prophet ﷺ said to the guardian of the Muslim girl, إِذَا جَاءَكُم مَّن تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَأَمَانَتَهُ. Whom should you look for to become your spouse and your future husband, your life partner? A person who is a man of deen, as a person who is practicing the deen. He respects and loves the Messenger of Allah, the family of the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him. And the family of the Messenger of Allah, whom we say in each prayer, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Oh Allah, bless Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, are his wives, his daughter, his grandchildren, and his cousins, Ali and Jafar, and Abdullah ibn Abbas. So his wives are number one, right? So if a person or his family do have the habit of cursing some of the mothers of the believers, how are you going to cope with such person? And what will happen with the future children? Are you going to give your daughter in marriage to somebody who would marry her for a day or two, mut'ah? Enjoy having sexual relations with her for 1 week, and this is perfectly not just legal, it is perceived as an act of worship. It is a very common practice. You say, oh, but he doesn't believe in this. We need to sit and find out what does he believe in and what does he believe in. If he believes in all the aspects of faith as the mainstream Muslims, and he denounces these practices, then he's a Sunni Muslim. The word Sunni means he's following the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And you know what it means? The Sunnah is narrated in a hadith, compiled and collected by the companions and the narrators of the hadith. And the most sound narrations is Al-Bukhari and Muslim and so on. But, in the case of the Shia, they, or vast majority of them, and the scholars among them, they reject our Sunnah. They only take the hadith which they narrated in their books from only a handful of the companions, the family of the Prophet ﷺ, according to their perception. So there are a lot of obstacles which actually we have to remove first before deciding that I want to marry this person and I want my children to be raised this way. Guess what? Having said so, if a person who says, I'm Sunni and my father is such and such mullah, and he is proposing to your daughter or he wants to marry you, I don't care about what your father used to do. What about you? Well, I pray on and off. I'm not very active in worship. I'm not really practicing. Thank you so much. I'm not interested. You see, even if a person says, I'm Muslim, I'm Sunni, I belong to a very religious family. This is all good, this is plus. But what about you? What about your belief? What about your perception concerning 1, 2, 3, 4? There are a lot of questions which we have to put before making such decision. Same way, when I decide to marry a girl, or any of my children is interested in marrying a girl. The girl, mashallah, belongs to a very religious family, but she likes a gaudy fashion, wearing those tight jeans and new fashion blouses and all of that. No, son, this is not our style. We want a mother for your children. We want a person who will become our own model, even if the person is belonging to a Sunni practicing religious family. I hope you understood what I meant by my answer. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. Inshallah, we'll continue some other time, next episode. Until then, I leave you all in the care and the protection of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate